Hello, hello, and welcome to the weekly energy update for the week of July 13th, 2025. I'm Renee Spears, a spirit guide channeler and a spiritual mentor, and I'm coming to you from a picture-perfect summer day in beautiful Bozeman, Montana. So every Sunday I share the energy for the week ahead, and I also infuse the show with positive vibes, so you get a little positive energy boost just for listening. And we have two more planets going retrograde this week. Saturn goes retrograde today, Sunday the 13th, and Mercury goes retrograde on Friday the 18th. And they're joining Pluto retrograde and Neptune retrograde, which happened on July 4th. So with all of these planets retrograde at the same time, this is our chance to pause, reflect, recalibrate, and do a deep energetic cleanup. It's review season, not launch season. It's not a great time to force new beginnings, but it is the ideal time to get aligned, do the inner work, and clear some space for when the planets move direct again. So let's start with Saturn retrograde happening today. Saturn retrograde is life review time. Do you love your life? And if the answer is no, this is your chance to change it. Saturn's retrograde asks for a solid gut check on your life. It wants us to step up and take responsibility for our lives and the direction we're moving in. And while in retrograde, it's the perfect time to go over and review what we want to change. It also points out where we need to set boundaries, either for ourselves or others. Saturn is a serious planet. It's all about work and discipline and structure and responsibility. And it's also about karma. It's the planet that brings it back around. You get back what you put out right now, good or bad. Saturn is retrograde in Aries, and it's joining Neptune, who's retrograde in Aries. So this is the first time in our lifetimes that we're experiencing these two planets both retrograde in the same sign. The last time was in the 1870s, and it feels like every week I'm saying, this has never happened before in our lifetime. And that's because it's true. This summer is big. We're in the middle of some major transformation. So if things feel heavy or overwhelming, please give yourself some grace. It's okay to step back and take a break and focus on taking care of yourself. Evolution is not for the faint of heart. So let's talk about what's going on with Aries right now, because it's a big deal. Aries is a sign of self, courage, and identity. And with both Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries, we're getting a massive wake-up call about who we think we are. Like this might feel like a spiritual identity crisis or a spiritual awakening. Either way, we're being asked to strip away the fluff, the roles we've been playing, the stuff that really isn't us, and start aligning with our higher self, our soul version of who we truly are. And if you've been searching for your purpose, don't be surprised if you figure that out this summer. Now here's the tricky part. If you've been chasing goals that came from your ego and not from alignment, you might hit burnout or just feel lost, unmotivated, maybe even angry because Aries rules anger. But that anger, it's not bad. It's fuel. It's energy, and it can help wake you up to your real purpose. And because Saturn is about work, we're likely to see this show up in our work. The things we've done in the past to make money just stop working. And if you're self-employed like me, you're going to have to change things up. What we've been doing isn't working anymore. So don't dig in your heels and think it's just a phase. It's not. We got to change. And this realization that we need to change can be overwhelming and zap our energy. But this is a time to pick yourself up and rebuild better. Wallowing a little may actually help motivate us to get it together and fix things. And with that said, the old hustle culture is part of what isn't working. There's a new energy here, a movement towards slowness, integrity, authenticity, and pleasure. And this becomes especially clear this month. And if you've been thinking about ditching social media because it doesn't feel authentic and it's just really not working for your business, now might be the time to do it. So the third planet to join the slowdown club and go retrograde this month is Mercury on Friday the 18th. And we're already in that pre-shade energy. This is a lot of retrograde energy, and you may feel overstimulated, tired, scatterbrained, or even anxious. So don't fight it. We talked last week about how Uranus in Gemini is speeding up external events, but that doesn't mean you need to keep up. Give yourself permission to pause. Mercury retrogrades aren't a time to push full steam ahead, but to slow down and expect delays. And Mercury gets a bad reputation when it's retrograde for causing everything from travel delays to miscommunications, even technical difficulties. Instead of thinking about Mercury retrograde as a cosmic punishment, think of it as a recalibration. Whatever is coming up for you is doing so for you, not to you. This retrograde is helping you see what you've overlooked, what you missed the first time around. And because it's going retrograde in Leo, you'll want to hold off on any big changes to your appearance. Hold off on that new haircut or that cosmetic procedure. Wait until Mercury goes direct to make any big changes to how you look. Also, don't be surprised if exes or past lovers show up. And during Mercury retrograde, love bombing runs rampant. Just don't pack your U-Haul after 2 dates right now. Now, Leo rules the kings and queens. So this Mercury retrograde could reveal some fascinating and probably upsetting truths about those in positions of power. So Mercury exposes the shadows. And I think we see this happening already with all the Epstein stuff. So get the popcorn ready and expect a lot of revelations. So yeah, it's a time of deep reflection. And yes, that can be emotional. But this is exactly what we need to come back into alignment with who we really are. If your spiritual practice has slipped, now's the time to return to it. This is your opportunity to refine your life, reset your mindset, and refresh your business, not by hustling harder, but by aligning more deeply with your truth. We're being called to let go of what no longer fits and step into a more authentic, soul-aligned version of ourselves. And even though this retrograde energy might feel like a lot, it's actually working for us, clearing out what's old so we can make room for what's real. So be gentle with yourself this week. Rest if you need to, and trust that everything you're going through is leading to a life that feels more authentic. This time is about getting to the truth of everything, of who we really are, of what's happening in our country and in our world. I would call this the summer of truth. So as always, thank you for listening and passing the podcast on to a friend. This is a work day for me. I'm spending the day working on Spiritual Summer School, getting yesterday's recording and this week's workbook out to everybody, and then preparing for my numerology class on Tuesday. So enjoy this last week of Cancer season. Next week, we'll talk about Leo season and the new moon in Leo. So have a great week, everyone, and I'll talk to you again next week.